I'm dontaetmuse, author of Tripping Over Canvases, How to Open Your Own Art Gallery with No Experience, and art director here at Above Art Studios, located at 55 Moore Street, downtown New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So,
You know, more starving artists.
yes.
It's hard. It is hard, and you might just the label, the stereotype of the starving artist. Like I tell all my students, like, don't use that. Don't even use that term. You know, like don't label yourself right out of the gate as like you're not gonna make it. You know.
Yeah.
Every career can be hard. You know.
And like you alluded to earlier, I mean, the same way as most artists probably at least dabble in more than one medium, there's more than one stream of income that can be brought in with art as well too. And for me personally, like sometimes I get bored of just doing one thing, and I want to move on and do something else. You know, I might just keep drawing, and I might, paint one week, and then I want to write the next week, or do poetry the week after. But that same attitude can give you the freedom and flexibility to make money over here one time, make money over there, and do the different things. So you mentioned, not only selling your own direct artwork, what are other streams of income, art-based that you're pulling in?
Well, my main one right now is teaching. So I give art lessons, and I'm also doing art marketing lessons. So I'm helping other artists, figure out how to get into shows, how to promote their work, social media, design their website. And then I'm just giving regular art lessons. I've had students as young as 7 and as old as like 80s, and everything in between. All different skill levels, different media. And then I also sell prints of my work. I do freelance illustration, so I've illustrated a lot of children's books and other books and magazines. I've done some, graphic design work. And then I do vending events, so I'll sell my own line of t-shirts, greeting cards, I make jewelry, crafts and stuff like that, and I'll do art and craft shows, before the pandemic, they were happening.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different ways depending on what your skill set is and what your motivation is to make work using your creativity that's not just, straight up drawing, painting, photography, there's a lot of other things that people can do.
Would you either recommend or dissuade someone from at least learning art administration as well if they're an artist?
You mean as far as...
As far as what happens after the work is done. I especially from the public's perspective, they'll just see the work when everything is all said and done. And then from a lot of, unknowledgeable artists, they just create the work and then they don't know what to do after that. A lot of people, I'm sure, pretty much all artists have work all around their homes, their studio is full with work. Some don't know what to do from there. It is a little easier now that we have, different platforms, your social medias, your Society Sixes, your Gumroads, everything that can help you sell art and can bring people that are already looking to collect to you. So it is easier now than I'm sure it was, even 5 years ago, but let alone, 10, 15 years ago. But there's still other things in between that are like dots that haven't been connected, pieces that are missing. People don't know what's the process of even trying to have your art in an establishment. What's the process of I don't know, so many processes. Would you think all they need to do is paint, or do you think I don't necessarily recommend someone managing themselves totally, just because how you're taken when you go to someone else. Like, of course, you're gonna tell someone else that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, because you know it's you. If you have that confidence, but if you have someone who's literally investing in you, they're investing their time in you, they're investing their resources in you, and they're representing you. They're usually taken more serious. That same thing, kind of, if you show up in court with no lawyer. You know, like that's like your art lawyer type of thing. Like the judge is kind of looking at you like, you know, people are taking you if you have that representation. So I would never personally tell someone learn everything so you can do everything yourself all the time. But learn everything so you know what's going on. So if something is not going right, you know, you can tune in and correct that. But still learn everything if and or when you have to do it for yourself, or so you can help someone else out on top of that as well. So just me personally, I definitely recommend learn everything on both sides. And then it's kind of like, what are you going to do in your off time anyway? You might as well pour more into yourself. I mean, I know some artists who kind of just go from one thing to another. I know one who's, you know, very great artist. He does oil painting, so that's a little different because it takes little longer to dry. So he might be working on 4 or 5 pieces simultaneously, because this one might take 2 or 3 days, you know, to dry, while he's working on another one. So he definitely does that. So he kind of just keeps on going. But me personally, I do something, I'm done. I like to be finished. Like, I like to complete something. So I like to complete it, and then after that, I'm kind of looking around so I get, you know, motivated to do something else. So in that time span, I personally dive into, you know, books, you know, and I watch podcasts, and, you know, like I'm trying to learn more on the opposite end, so now I can do more, you know, with my stuff. You seem like you have you know, your background is giving you a really good balance from both, you know, the artist and the art administrative perspective, and you set yourself up, you know, to be a mentor. What is the name of your marketing company?
Well, I just go by Talon Art. I just use that for everything I do. And I actually manage myself. I don't have representation, you know, and nothing against it. I mean, you do have to spend money on that, which I don't have, and I might be able to get into, you know, bigger, more prestigious galleries with representation, but I've done pretty good without it because I do have an extensive, you know, sales and marketing background, and I've worked in galleries as well. So, you know, but that's why I started teaching art marketing, because I found that so many artists were like what you were saying, they had no idea how to do that stuff. They didn't know how to write an art resume or CV. They didn't know how to write an artist statement in a bio. They didn't know how to approach galleries and how to enter exhibits and do social media or get a website going. So, so my students that come to me for that, you know, I help them do all that stuff, you know, the elevator pitch, you know, all the marketing stuff, you know, how to properly address people when you're sending them emails, like, you know, the do's and don'ts of all that stuff, you know, how to prepare your work properly for exhibits, and, you know, then my other students are just straight up art students, you know, where they're drawing, painting, you know, mixed media, you know, whatever their interests are. So I do one-on-one art lessons usually, because that way I can focus specifically on that student and the media that they're interested in and the subject matter they're interested in, instead of like, you know, a bunch of people having them all do the same thing, you know. So this way I can, you know, really focus on each person and take it, you know, at their specific skill level, and it's working out really well. You know, like some of my students now have been coming to me for like several years. I mean, I have like long-term students, and, you know, we become friends, you know, and I've helped them get into shows, and, you know, like, you know, the person we were talking about before, you know, and it's really cool to see their progress, you know, over time, and see how their skills improve, and, you know, see the reaction that they're getting on social media when they're posting their work and they're getting all these great compliments, you know, and how it boosts their confidence. So, you know, I have about between 10 and 12 students right now, but, you know, like I said, that's all like individual, so that's all like separate lessons, you know, and hoping to expand on that, you know.
So I'm gonna ask this, and our viewers are gonna get caught up in there. So, how long have you had your long nails, Lauren?
I was waiting.
Yeah, those things. How long are they? How have you had them? Like, so you like? I feel like, because obviously I don't think you had them your whole life. So you were painting, and did you have to learn different techniques with the brushes because of the nails, or like how do you paint with those nails?
Well, I've been going for like 30 years, so, and it's so gradual that, I didn't have to think about it. It's not like all of a sudden I woke up with like crazy fingernails. But, it's been such a slow process that, you just get used to it, and, the way I hold the brush, it doesn't interfere, so it really hasn't been an issue in creating my art at all. And it's actually, kind of worked where, being an artist, it's kind of made me stand out. And,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
ended up getting on, like, television and, like, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and some, like, big forums that actually drew a lot of, attention then to my artwork. So, and I modeled, like, for other artists and photographers, so it's kind of, for the most part, been, like, a good thing as far as my art career goes. Of course, there's many people that, they hate it or think I'm insane or whatever, but, I'm not going it for them. I do it because I like them. I don't really care if somebody else doesn't like it. It's my business,
And you don't get random paint on them when you painting?
I mean, I've gotten paint on them sometimes, but, the way that I hold the brush, they're kind of out of the way, so they don't really get too many.
Listen, I need to come get lessons on that.
You don't get some paint on you.
Yeah, I'm like when I paint is everywhere. So I'm like, I don't know how she does it. Like I turn around, is at least flicks of paint everywhere across. I'm like, how does it get across the room? It's flicks of paint everywhere. I don't know how that works, but it definitely it works out. So one last question: what advice would you give to someone who is trying to leave their current career and go into full-time artistry, and to be in full-time creative?
They can take lessons from me.
Definitely.
But I mean, aside from that, first of all, you really have to be organized, you have to be consistent, and you have to be persistent. So, it's a full-time job just finding work. You just have to always be looking for new opportunities, always be networking, making connections, supporting other artists, going to galleries, going to museums, seeing what other people are doing, join groups, have meetings with other artists, and then, follow through, be professional, get back to people in a timely fashion, be easy to work with. I mean, I'm like hyper organized, like OCD organized, but that's really helped me because I've had so many people like in galleries or, clients I've worked with say like, a lot of artists I deal with are really flaky and they're like, you are like on top of everything. Like I never miss a deadline. If they ask me for a resume, for an artist statement, like I have it. It's in my computer. Everything's ready to go. Like nobody has to ask me twice, so, that's really important. Like galleries will want to come back and work with you if you make it easy for them and if you're a professional,
Listen, as a gallerist, I definitely agree, 100%. I was asking you earlier about learning something about yourself. If you had gotten a chance to work with the artists, like going from just being an artist to dealing with other artists, I've definitely became more humble. Become more patient. Yes, majority of artists are flaky. They're flaky, and I don't even understand it. So you might have to be a little more on top of them. So you yourself have to be a little more organized. And I don't like to be micromanaged, so I don't like to micromanage people. So I had to learn to find, that balance to where, I'm not on top of you, but I'm checking in to make sure everything is still, what we agreed on, what we said it was gonna be. Cause your typical artists, they in the world in which they receive these images majority of the time, and it's so much more colorful there that they don't really want to come back too often. They just check in now and then, and they back in the world. You said what?
I mean, that's a good.
Yeah.
For the creativity, I mean, for me, I got my skills, probably from my parents and from, having to go to work, like, as a kid, like I had to work, like I had to work every summer break, I had to work every Christmas break, I had to work through college, like, so, I learned, that kind of responsibility early on, and then, being in sales and having a background in fundraising and marketing, like I learned those skills early on too. A lot of artists, that was never their job,
Yeah,
so
they don't know.
Yeah.
Well, tell them where they can find you, Lauren, so they can visit you for your art lessons and your art marketing.
LaurenCurtisArt.com, Lauren Curtis Art on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I have a fine art site that's LaurenCurtisArt.weebly.com. So basically, if you Google Lauren Curtis Art, you should find a bunch of my websites and social media pages and stuff, and my email and contact information is all on there. I have a Facebook regular page, and I also have a Facebook business profile page, so I can be contacted either way there too.
All right. Well, make sure you guys go and find and follow and contact Lauren. I'm sure she would love to help you with anything that it is you need. I'm not sure what the schedule is like. Maybe she can even take on a couple of mentees. But make sure you check her and her art out and definitely support. A lot of different things that we touched on are in my recently released book, Tripping Over Canvases, How to Become a Successful Entrepreneur. So that is for all full-time artists. She's named a few different things in there, the different streams of income, different ways you can get it. I have even more inside of the book. So go on Amazon, find that. Go on AboveArtStudios.com and purchase the book and support, just like we support you. This has been another episode of the Art Life Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. See you later.
Thank you so much for having me.